Epic RC.
Hey RC fans, today we're going to be replacing a suspension arm, and part number right there, 3655T. I use the orange ones because I feel like they match the body design of the Rustler 4x4 VXL a little bit better. That's the car I'm using right now. Broke this the other day when I was trying to go way too fast and hit somebody's car wheel on the street. Hard enough to set off their alarm. Broke the arm, my shock, and a couple other things. I'm doing a video on the shock later. So let's start with this one. Taking the wheel off first. If I do something funky, let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'm using a Traxxas toolkit. It's pretty good. It's nice and mobile. I've got other tools I can use at home too sometimes, but this one's good for carrying around with me to other places and whatnot. You'll notice too, I've got different hubs on this. It's the MIP drive shafts I've used since I broke the other one. Let's take the shock off. Sorry, a lot of stuff on my workbench here. I haven't really cleaned out the car since I did some leaf blasting yesterday. That was fun. Put my new shock back on. When I busted the rod on the other one, I ended up using one of my old shocks as a replacement for a couple days while I had the new part on order. And I've got this set up to be kind of street right now, very low as possible, stiff suspension. I'll talk about that in some of the other videos too for Epic RCs. So you don't have to remove both sides of the shock. Like I said, I did that this time because I'm going to be changing the shock as well. You really can do this in pretty much any order you would like. There's 2 screws inside the front bumper, and then there's going to be screws on the bottom. This is not easy to do with a camera in my way. I'm used to just working on this thing. Be careful not to strip these out when you're taking them off, because they do get worn if you run this thing like I do, which is basically crazy. A lot of times I'll use a scribe or something a little pokey to get in here, get the gunk out before you try to turn these, because otherwise you may strip them, and that is just no fun. I have a black one on here right now. These are my old arms before I broke one of the black ones, then reordered the orange ones just because I think they look a little cooler. So that piece comes off, 5 screws. Now you have access to this front plate right here. So I'm going to take that off as well. Which could be a different size. It is. So this rod goes through your A-arm. Doesn't screw in or anything. If you have to, you can use some needle nose or pliers to just gently work this thing out. If it's broken, like mine was, I'll show it to you here. This is the old piece. Probably hard to see. There's a crack right there. It was offset. It was basically sitting like this when I got in here last time. And also with the first one, it's the same exact thing. So when it's like that, this is a little tough to get off. But just work it out with some pliers. Should be relatively easy when it's straight like this and come straight out. Okay, the other thing I haven't done yet, you might as well do before you pull this out, sorry, is that we need to remove the end of this so that we can get the piece out as well. It really doesn't matter what order you do this stuff in, and like I said, I'm no pro, just doing some videos to help out whoever is just starting out with this stuff. It's a blast of a hobby, but it can be a little daunting to people that don't know mechanically what they're doing. So that comes out. Now we're able to just slide out the knuckle, it's called the knuckle, the end that holds the steering wheel from your arm. Now we can take the pin out, slide the pin out, and easy peasy, there it is. This one's still good. I'm going to keep this as a spare. This rod can go back in either way. I just like to keep them the same way just in case. So there's your piece right there. There is a left and a right. So when you do replace these, make sure you are using the right side. This is not the left side, which is what I'm working on right now. This is the right one. So the front and the back are the same. The left and the right are not. As you can see, this one, same one, right piece. Nice. The installation is the reverse of the removal. Once you've got your pin back in here, taking this plate, fitting it back on. Don't over tighten stuff, especially in the plastic. Not a good idea. I'm gonna fit this back in here, and we're gonna use the screw we saved, the rod on it. With my slippery hands. Again, don't over tighten. At this point, you can attach the wheel, you can attach the shock. I'm gonna put the wheel back on for now. I actually like to touch. I know these are lock nuts that go on the wheel, but I'm gonna put just a touch, like a touch of Loctite on just a part of the axle right here, the attachment point. If I can get my Loctite to come out. Might be running a little low. Come on. I don't want to overdo this. That's it. Just a dab. Don't go crazy because it'll start sticking to things you don't want it to stick to. Gently put the wheel over it. You might rub a little bit of Loctite off, but you know, do your best. The wheel should kind of latch back into the hex. I know I didn't put the bottom part on yet. It's, like I said, you can do this in whatever order you want. I'm a little scattered today. Sorry about that. I apologize. But, you know, it really, I guess the whole point of that is it does not matter what order you do a lot of this stuff in. It's going to go back together the same way. There's a few things that obviously you got to put on before you do this or put on before you do that. I am definitely not going to put, you're not going to see the shock go back on right now. That will happen in a different video because, like I said, I'm going to be, I have to rebuild the shock that I destroyed. I can show it to you in a minute. It's the GTR shocks that I replaced after I busted and bent some of my other ones. So I'm going to be replacing one of the newer GTR shocks that I broke. I like to put on the front bolts on this bumper first. It actually lines up the other, it makes the other holes line up a little bit better. And you'll notice too, this hole right here is actually one of the things that holds in this rod. So your main rod that holds in your suspension arm. So again, not doing Loctite on any of this stuff. It's plastic. I know some of you are going to be like, well, duh, but I didn't know that at first. So maybe some other people don't know that. Maybe a few people out there that this helps, and that's all that matters. I've been watching YouTube videos for most of my life, and for so long, I didn't like or subscribe or do any of that stuff, and I just kind of watched all these videos, and they helped me so many times. There's always something, there's always somebody out there that can benefit from this, and I really appreciate all of the videos that I've benefited on through the years, even though the people that watch them have no idea that I benefited from them, because I didn't even have a login or anything. I didn't, you know, do what I should have done, which was just give them a like and say, hey, thank you for spending the time and the effort to make these videos for me, because that's awesome. I'm honestly not asking for that from anybody else. I just want to say that I'm appreciative of all the other people that have helped me through the years, and they didn't know it. Blah, blah, blah. I know. 3 screws on the bottom. Again, do not strip these out. It's easy to do, because they will get, if you drive this thing like I do, they're going to get worn down. So You can see it's not a whole lot to grab anymore. So just put some pressure on it and be careful. When you do flip your car over, these shock mounts are actually okay. They're meant to be kind of set on a workbench. It will not hit your antenna or anything else. So that's okay to do that. Make sure that you don't put it down on like your wood blocks or whatever else you're going to be using as a stand, because you will damage your antenna if it is not a flat surface. Again, a lot of people are going to be, hey, that's dumb, I already know that. Yeah, well, some people don't, so there you go. Don't over tighten. There it is. Make sure I got these in where they need to be. 5 screws to take this front bumper off. Okay. And then, like I said, the only thing I have left at this point, as you can see, floppy fish wheel, is going to be, and it should rotate very, very easily without the shock on. There should be no friction on this thing at all. So I'm going to be putting the shock back on later because I still have to rebuild it. But there you go. So suspension arm, got the matching orange arm mount. These look so cool, and they're cold weather arms, which is pretty awesome too if you do live in a colder area. I don't. I'm in SoCal. People around here don't know what cold weather is. Thanks for watching. See you on the next one.